Okay, we're here with Fabio Taliercio,
Yeah.
and he has been gracious enough to come down here and give some background on himself and some advice to all of you new actors. So, Fabio, take it away. When did you come to New York?
This is quite a challenge meeting you today.
Yeah.
We finally got it together.
We did.
Made it happen. Granted, we're outside.
We are.
It's
Freezing.
an impromptu interview.
It is.
So what was your question, Brian?
When did you come to New York? When did you decide you wanted to be an actor?
That's
Tell
a
us your
really
story.
great question. Okay, so when I came to New York is when I was born, because I was actually born in New York. I'm from Brooklyn, which is kind of ironic considering that most actors come here from somewhere else, but my parents did, so I guess that's some sort of rite of passage there. But so being from New York, you would think gives me more of an advantage of being an actor and being here in New York. However, it didn't. I kind of started out a little cocky, I think. I felt like I knew the ropes, I knew where to go, I knew where I was going here and there. However, you know, I worked just as hard, as much as everyone else. It took me a while to really break into the industry professionally. I was doing it as a hobby for a while. Obviously I went to school for it, but I really didn't pursue it full time until about 4 years ago. And 4 years ago I started to really go out there and put myself out there and audition, and I started meeting people, and I booked a couple of off-Broadway shows. I was in Tony and Tina's, as well as my big gay Italian wedding where I got my equity card. And it's just kind of been non-stop since.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what was it like being in both of those shows? They're both two very different shows.
The funny thing is that, I'm glad you asked that question. Being from New York, it's kind of interesting because I don't really have to pretend being from New York. Mm-hmm. So I kind of had to learn how to embrace who I was, you know. I think as actors, we need to really know what our type is, and we need to be certain of what it is that we're marketing, which is ourselves,
right,
and what our appeal is. So being from New York, you know, it wasn't really that unbelievable to see me in shows like Tony and Tina's Wedding and My Big Gay Italian Wedding, and I've also auditioned for Jersey Boys and things like that. So,
which you would be perfect for.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll tell the producers you said
that.
All
right, we'll send them this video. You
okay,
can do a
great. So yeah, it's really important to know your type, and obviously my type is New York, so that's how I really kind of found my little niche here, working, you know, that angle and auditioning for those shows. Both shows very different, but very similar. Obviously, they both deal with an Italian family background. However, one has to deal with, you know, gay marriage, and the other one has to deal with dysfunctional marriage, I guess. But both very fun improv shows, which is another thing that is important, is you really need to have really good improv skills, and when you audition, you need to kind of just bring it, you know. I mean, if you're a singer, actor, dancer, puppeteer, whatever it is that you do, just make it known. Don't even harbor any secrets. If you can, like, you know, yodel, just let people know from the top of the hills, I guess.
Yeah. And what are you working on now?
Well, I just got back from LA, actually. I was out there for pilot season, auditioning for a couple of ABC pilots, and I'm actually not in anything at the moment, thankfully.
Yeah.
So I have a little break, but, you know, I've been like just auditioning for a lot of stuff. I have a couple of commercials running, and we'll see what happens in the spring, summer.
And what?
Should I look at you or the camera?
No, you can look at whoever you want to. What advice do you have to people who are just starting out, because you've done off-Broadway and you are now equity? What advice do you have to people who are just starting out?
Okay,
when they should make that
that's a great question. It's also a two-part question. Are we speaking in terms of people who are not yet in New York, or actors that are in New York?
In New York and that are non-equity and wondering when they should make the transition.
Okay, so my recommendation to actors who are not equity yet is to really sit down with your resume and evaluate it and make sure that you're prepared to join equity, because once you do, it's like a completely different vehicle altogether. You want to make sure that you have the body of work necessary to get agents interested, to get management interested, to get producers interested. They want to know that, you know, you obviously have some experience under your belt. Although I do know people that have joined equity because of whatever opportunities, and they didn't have a large resume, and that's okay as well. I think your goal shouldn't be about becoming equity, it should be about becoming successful. So it's really about sitting down and just kind of planning your strategy. It's important to have a team. It's really important to have a team. Being in New York, whether you're born in New York or you're coming from somewhere else to New York, you should never feel alone. It's really important to have a group of people, networkers. They don't necessarily even have to be other actors. They can be stage managers, scenic designers, as long as they're people on your team, because ironically a lot of the work I've booked has been through word of mouth. So you want to make sure that people know who you are and like you. As well as agents and managers and casting directors, you really want to get out there and make sure that you're seen and they know who you are. You do not need to be equity for casting directors to call you in. Just that's one thing right off the bat you should know. I mean, you can get auditions for really great shows that are equity and not be equity, as long as you have people on your team.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool. That was really great advice.
Okay.
Thank you so much for taking the
Thank
time
you.
out.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.